Hello, my name is Grian, and today I'm going to be showing you a bunch of tricks and tips using trapdoors. They are incredibly useful now in 1.9 that they stand on their own, so let's go through it. Everyone knows this one, it's not really a trick or a tip. If you didn't know this one by now, then shame on you. However, now in 1.9 we can actually use them as a very cool decoration tool. Because they are thinner than a half slab, you can make some pretty intricate designs using fences and placing them on top to make it look like a sunlight barrier or something. So you can see here, they're so much thinner than a half slab and you can get a much more intricate design. However, the way that they're placed next to each other limits you incredibly. You can't have a linear progression downwards. So here are a few trapdoor crate designs. Now they're fairly simple, you can work out how to use them. My favourite one is this one here, where it's entirely made out of trapdoors, again made possible by the 1.9 changes. Next up is a very simple design to make your windows a little more interesting. Adding panes is good, but if you add a trapdoor on the top, it can add a lot of detail to it. And the same goes for this, except we've entirely encompassed the window. Due to 1.9, they now stand vertically on their own if you place them in the right position. It doesn't look that good in that situation, but I can see it working really well in a desert house. Now this one I've shown in a previous garden video, however, you used to need to have barrier blocks on the inside for this to function. As people pointed out in that video, thank you very much everyone. And another use is one that everyone should know by now, but you can use them as some pretty cool shelves. Being thinner than slabs, they offer a good alternative, but again everyone kind of knows that. This here is a cage. Because of 1.9 allowing you to stand them up vertically, you're able to make a complete cage, or a crate if you want to put some wood behind it. You just place them on top of each other, then close them up, and you can make a pretty good looking cage for a chicken, a person, whatever you want to put in there. I think it looks pretty good, and it's a good alternative to normal crates or an iron cage. Now this is something that most people will have seen before, but I thought I'd include it anyway. The trapdoors can be used as sort of a barrier at a reception, just to stop people jumping over the top. Because it's nice and thin and the colours match, it's a good alternative to slabs, which are a little more chunky and obvious. And of course you can use them as a barrier. This is how I would use trapdoors in a decorative sense. When you use log to make a frame, you often have bits jutting out, and you can put trapdoors on the end or at the right angles to try and break it up and add a little more detail. Next up we have the idea that you could use them as stairs. Now I'm not sure why you would do this, or perhaps you'd want to create full circle with some contemporary art, but the option is now available due to 1.9, so if you have any cool ideas with that, I'd love to hear your replies in the comments. This is just a simple lamppost design, nothing too special, the only difference being that you can now put one on the top, thanks to 1.9 again. This is one that I've shown in a tricks and tips video before. It is a simple wheelbarrow where you put some trapdoors on the side. Now this is a pretty cool design for a pickup truck. You can use trapdoors to do the wheels using iron fences, just making sure you have a redstone torch underneath the wheels, and then you can activate it and cover it up, no problem. Then for the top, you can have a nice lid using the iron trapdoors, and you can have wooden trapdoors as the basket. Would you call it a basket? The guard around the edge of the pickup truck. All very simple. It is a fantastic option to be able to have a vertical slab, even though we don't quite have the full thing. I hope one day we will get the option to have a proper vertical slab. Next up is just another version of the basket, just using it covering some hay, and a rather tropical design for a parasol, although it has got holes in it, so it's not very good for blocking out sunlight, but it does make a nice decoration. Next up is a really cool one that, thanks to 1.9 again, we are able to do, a really cool ceiling fan that you might want to put in a large living room or something like that. It works really well, but I would recommend having a large room for this to look like it's a home. Next up is one that I've shown you multiple times. It's just a flower pot. You probably all know that one by now. This one is again an alternative to using slabs to go over the water. Again, thank you 1.9 for that ability. And it is a nice touch because it is a little bit thinner than a slab. This one is just a way to make it look like your torch is being held by something by using an item frame and putting a trapdoor in that item frame. Now again, thanks to 1.9, we can actually use trapdoors as windows, which may be suitable for builds where you don't want to use a lot of glass for whatever reason. Next up is a way to decorate the fire. The trapdoors are one thing, but what really makes this stand out is the podsaw and the new paths that are added in 1.9, because it really makes it look like it's burnt around it. Next up is everyone's favourite, the Trapdoor Toilet. I think everyone's seen this one by now, but I thought I'd include it anyway. So this is the design that you use when you want to publicly lynch someone on your server. The trapdoor stairs make a really nice addition to this design, but of course it's all about that trapdoor lynching that person. Probably want to link it up to some redstone though. Now for our final ones are just some uses in design ideas. So this is a windmill, you'd probably would use one in the center anyway, but thanks to 1.9 we can now add them on the tips of the windmill to make them even thinner at the extremes of the build. And lastly we have a water wheel design. Now I'm pretty sure this is the closest thing you're ever gonna get to a very small circular build. So this is a very easy design for a water wheel on a small build. Because of the intricacies of the trapdoor, you get these tiny little right angles that look a lot nicer than a half slab. The half slab obviously can't go vertically, so this is the only option we have for a smaller circle design. And if you added one on the bottom, you'd see the full thing. It actually looks pretty good, however you might want to add some fences and more intricacies to try and make it more like a water wheel. So you may want to mix up the designs here, but this is a nice proof of concept on how to make them. So 1.9 has offered a lot in terms of how we can use trapdoors for multiple uses. I love using blocks in ways which they weren't really intended, and along with some more mechanical uses and decorative uses, we've come up with a bunch of designs. So I have to thank Botbox, Adjustme, and everyone in the crew that helped me make this video possible. So that's it everyone, thank you very much for watching, goodbye!